Hello and welcome back YouTubers, and in today's episode we're going to look at hacking infinite lives for Imagine game Bewitched, which also appeared in the early 80s. You just saw a snippet of the program being run, and I've muted the sound because there seems to be either an emulator issue or some other issue ongoing where the sound seems to be corrupt. So first off, we're going to load the cassette. And let's see what we've got to play with. So again, it looks like on the surface a normal Imagine loader if you've looked at any of the videos. Let's have a look and see what's actually going on. So open 1,4 to open the printer. Command 1 to redirect all output to the printer now. List. Print. #1 to flush the printer through, and you can see on the right hand side the text has now appeared. Close 1 to finish closing the printer. Okay, as before, ignore these readies, we can get rid of that. And we've got the usual couple of pokes to do with interrupts and the tape. I'm still unsure why they included this, but I'm sure an expert out there will tell me exactly why, because without them it doesn't appear to make any difference. And again, straightforward loader, but hang on a minute, what's this? 84 sys4864, that didn't appear on the screen, did it? Let's take a closer look. List line 84. There doesn't appear to be one. Or is there? This was an old trick. Very, very old trick. Starter basic starts at 1001. And here we can see here parts that relate to, or the textual parts relate to the basic program. And as we keep going through and scan the code, we can see here this sys4864, and again it appears to be a valid line. We've got a token for the sys command 9e, and then we seem to have a token for rem statements, and then we've got a bunch of dots here, which is filled with the hex character 14, which in decimal is 20, which in ASCII charts is the insert delete character string code. So basically it's a self-deleting line of code, and if we go back to the listing, you'll see here rem followed by a bunch of dots, which is unprintable characters in this instance, and basically it's trying to hide line 84 from plain view by deleting itself when it's listed. In fact, if you let's go back to, let's return back to the program here, and if we do a list again, you might see it briefly where this line 84 does appear and disappear. Let's try again. Can't seem to get it to work this time. So what we've got is called a fake loader. If we go back to our listing, we've got our usual Imagine loader, which is the usual type of data for loading in a program. But actually, although it goes to the effort of poking this into memory, it's designed to trip you up. The real code is at sys4864. So this is assembly language or machine code that was loaded into memory with the basic program. So let's find out what the hexadecimal address is. I prefer hex. I know some of you prefer decimal, but going back to days of old, I'm more used to hex than I am decimal. And this is at memory address 1300. So let's have a look and see what's going on there, shall we? Ah, interesting indeed. So we've got some relocatable code at address 12A1, and we're storing in at 2A1. and then we're jumping in at address 2A1. So let's put a breakpoint here at 2A alpha 1, and we can do a disassemble at 12A1 to see if we have got real code, and yes we have. We've basically got the usual type of code for loading in the next file, and then we've got another bunch of initialization code. So again, it looks like we're loading memory into screen, and then storing it in the stack area at 101, which limits any spare memory that we might need later on. And then eventually there's a bunch of initializations for the VIC chip before jumping into the real address at 1100. And we'll worry about that later. Let's set a breakpoint here at 12 Foxtrot Bravo. Sorry, no, we can't do that yet because we're not actually going to jump at that address. We're going to break at 1100. Sorry, this is the code before it's relocated. X, okay, run. I've pressed no because of this possible corruption. And here we go, the loader has now jumped into 2 alpha 1, which was the code that we spoke about, and 2 Foxtrot Bravo, 2 FB is where we actually jump into the game or launch the game once it's loaded. So set a breakpoint there, 2 FB, X. The program will now load from cassette. We're just going to speed it up. Here, if you notice that PCSR, ACXR, this looks like a remnant from VICMon. So the developers were using the system there and stored what was on screen, and this is a remnant of that monitoring tool back in the day. And we've got the command to jump to address 1100, and let's have a look at 1100 now. Got a bunch of subroutines, etc. Sometimes we get lucky and see number of lives at the start, but so far we haven't. So let's continue the game. And we can see that we start off with 5 lives. So let's see if we can use our usual trick. 100, 2, 2000, A905. Possible couple of hits. So let's have a look at 2A1. Don't think that's the case because that's the loader, wasn't it? Yep, that was loader code, so we can ignore that one. And let's have a look at 1B6. Let's drop back a few bytes to 1BB0. Oops, disassembled on a 1BB0. And it looks like we're storing the value 5 in a loop somewhere, so again it doesn't look particularly viable. Okay, so we're going to go back to the screen trick. Very handy. So we're going to do an SC. Oh, here we go. I'm guessing this is all part of the map. That's, so we've got a 25 by 32 screen at 1C00, and we've got effectively a bunch of potential gobbledygook. I know that our lives is somewhere in this string. It has to be because it's stored on the screen. So what we're going to do now is run the game, lose a life, and then look at the screen again. So let's continue. And okay, we've lost a life and men have changed from 5 to 4. So let's have a look at what's on the screen now. Given that we are near the top, I expect some of these to remain the same, but our top line here and top line here at 1C00, the screen address, we can detect a change. So we haven't scored anything. The only thing that has changed is the number of lives, and if you look carefully you can see this open square bracket UB underscore, and then after we lost a life, open square bracket TB underscore. I think it's safe to assume that the character B is being used for space for these user-defined graphics. Let's have a look at the memory between 1C00 and 1C18. $1C00, $1C18. Okay, so what we've got is unprintable characters really. These are poked directly into screen memory. Something that does stick out is this one here, 14, but we need to count and to be sure. So 1C00, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 A B C. So 1C0C. And yes, there we go, 14. So it looks like our lives are set at 14 or 15 in hex. We can do a quick search, let's say 100, 2000, A9, 15. And we've got no hits on that either. So what do? Well, we go back to trusty breakpoints or watch points. So we're going to set a breakpoint at 1C when data is stored at 1C0C, and continue the game. Okay, this is still continuing the previous hit, I suspect, but let's have a look. Store accumulator at 1C00, so let's have a look at 14F0 through to 1505. Okay, load A with 1000, store it at C. It looks like there's a buffer at 1000. And there certainly is. Again, you see something familiar there, 100C. We'll come back to that later. Let's continue. Oh, hello. Men set to 5, and we're back to the store. Okay, aha, right. So this time we've lost a life, and we found this command here at 1B90, decrement 1C0C. Well, this looks interesting, doesn't it? So this is most likely candidate for losing a life and decrementing it. So we've got decrement 1C0C, so we're decrementing directly into memory rather than storing lives in memory elsewhere. So we just write into the screen to save a few bytes by the looks of it. A byte for the actual storage and then an additional byte for possibly processing. We load it with the value again after decrementing it and compare it with the value hash 10. Remember earlier that the memory address for this was at 13 in hexadecimal, so it seems to have added 16 or hash 10. So this will be when the lives are equal to 0. If it's equal to 0, we're going to jump execution to 1BB9, which is further down here. Otherwise, we're going to continue. I suspect if we change 1B90, so we can do it this way, assemble 1B90, and we're going to change this to aura $1C0C, and then if we disassemble 1B90, you can see here that we're not decrementing the lives anymore. So let's continue the game. Okay, we've broken here again. So we saw a flicker on the screen, didn't we, earlier, where it was set to 5 lives again. So 1000, X, and we're loading in the first batch of data here. So let's have a look at that memory address again. It's safe to say here that rather than the traditional method of load accumulator, store accumulator, or load X, store X, etc., etc., the developers here have assigned a table in memory or a section of memory that contains the initialization variables for the game to start. And if we change this value here, 100C, so let's modify that. Let's put that to the test. 100C, and let's set that to 19 for 9 lives. And then the next time we should see the value change. Oops. Sometimes it's harder to lose a life deliberately than it is to when you're trying to avoid them. Okay, again we're doing the SDA thing here, so X, it's written to the screen. We definitely haven't lost a life, but we haven't caught the raster scan yet. Aha! Here we go. You can see here that men are set to 9. So what we do know about this game is that at memory address 100C is the number of lives that you start with, and if you set it higher than 19 hexadecimal, you'll see some strange hieroglyphs or characters. These are basically user-defined characters in the game. And we also know that we're not going to lose a life now. We can continue playing as is. So let's give this a go. Ooh. Ah. Okay, so let's delete those breakpoints now and continue with the game as expected. Damn it! Come here! Come here! We go. And you can see lives are not going down. But we need to put all this into a loader, I guess. But first, let's just test our code out, our cheat out. Reset the VIC20. We're going to load the game up again. And we're just going to let it run through normally as before. Okay, now then, remember where we poked before? So we could set, let's prove the lies first. So let's modify 100C with 19. And we'll need to lose our lives now just to prove that. So let's just Alright, so we've now got to the game over bit. Hit a key. And the game's now started with 9 lives. So we know that works. And we're now dropped to 8. Now we're back to infinite lives. Okay, now infinite lives. We're going to poke, what was it, 1B90 with 0D. I think, disassembled $1B90 to 1BAO. Yes, there we go. So we're changing the decrement to the aura. Now when we lose a life, we should stay at 8. And there you have it. That's infinite lives, or you can change the number of lives you start with for Bewitched on Imagine. And again, this is perfect for emulation. All you need to do is simply remember to break the game at any point and enter the monitor, and the cheat, enter in the greater than sign, 1B90 0D, and that will do the trick. Exit to return. And that, folks, is how we created infinite lives and start with 9 lives for Bewitched by Imagine for the Commodore VIC20. If you like the video, please like and subscribe, all the usual nonsense that we're supposed to say. And if you'd like to see more, drop a note in the comments below, or if there's any mistakes or any improvements that can be made, again, drop me a note in the comments. Thanks for watching.